What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Sports Betting with Let's Get 60. I'm your host, Justin Travis, and as always, you can find me on Twitter at Let's Get 60, on the web, let'sget60.com, and on pickmonitor.com, Let's Get 60. And folks, we're going to review week four football, week three of the NFL, week four of the college game. And we'll do this in 10-minute segments so nobody gets too bored. So let's jump right in. Let's review, shall we? Last week we went 11-7 in college football, and it was a little disappointing for me. Obviously, 11-7 is a good win rate, and we won a little bit of money, but I was really disappointed at the two overs on Friday that got us in a hole a little bit, and then like some of the like Alabama not covering was a big surprise. So we did hit the Pittsburgh uh, game with plus 17, way too many points. Okie State pulled away in the end. We knew UNLV would be within the number against Northwestern. Arizona State was a great win. Plus 14 was obviously way too many points. Kentucky, luckily on Pick Monitor, it was plus 9. Um, I got unfortunately though I got one of my books got it at plus 8, so that turned into a push. The late score by Clemson against Syracuse turned that game from a push to a loss, which was disappointing. Those two plays happened about 2 minutes within one another, which was disappointing. Duke rolled like we said they would. Love TCU. Um, Washington, don't sleep on Washington, guys. They're still a very good team. We'll talk more about them in a minute. Oklahoma had no problem, and these overs, man. Texas Tech, Arizona. I was very surprised. Much like the Washington State Houston game, but totals don't go crazy on totals. All right, let's jump right in. Utah at USC. This is a Friday night game. I got this capped at -6. Pick Monitor's got it at -3.5. My bookie at -4, 4.5. Current line you can see there's fours, there's 3.5s out there. I'm not really sure. Well, I do know why this number is so low. I think it's all about the brand USC and the fact that Utah kind of still is one of those teams where like, oh, they're not very good. And after Utah's win at BYU, they've kind of just disappeared a little bit because they played inferior opponents. Now they've handled inferior opponents and won, and they're ranked number 10 in the country. But USC is such a big brand and such a public team um, that I think this number is lower than it should be. The USC's coach is terrible as a dog, but for some reason, even when USC lost last week to BYU, they're still getting love. So, I'm going to see what this line does. Again, I cap it at 6. So whatever the line does between now and tomorrow, we'll go ahead and grab. Wishful thinking is going to get to 3. I don't think it will. I don't think it will get to 3. I'd be shocked. But if it does, we'll definitely grab it. And the money line is still in play. I think it's like at -180. So, 2 to 1, I'm good with that. Why do I like Utah? Uh, this team is a very good team, guys. Again, first game of the season looked a little sloppy at BYU, but they did handle their business and covered. They played a couple of chumps. Now they're on the road to USC, and the home team has always won in this series. I get all that. Um, and USC, I know they beat Stanford, but they lost to BYU. Um, I, I don't see USC being consistent, clearly, and beating up on Stanford is not a big deal this year. Stanford's not very good. Uh, and if you're USC, you don't lose to BYU. Um, I don't know if maybe it was a look ahead spot in between Pac-12 opponents. Maybe that was why BYU kind of snuck up on them. But um, USC has given up 131 yards, 98 yards, 206 yards rushing so far in their 3 games. Okay, what does Utah do? They run the ball with this Moss guy. Okay, they're going to run the ball a lot. Okay, And Utah's defensive line can match up with anybody in the country. Okay, their defensive line is better than USC's offensive line. You're going to see a big push from that line, and they're not going to be overpowered by USC's athletes on the line because Utah's defensive line can hang with anybody. They're going to play defense and run the ball. They're going to grind out a win here. Utah is destined for the Pac-12 conference championship. This is just another stepping stone. I don't care if they're on the road. Utah should cover 4, 3.5, whatever it is. Okay, Miami of Ohio at Ohio State. Total, I got this at 65. I think should be at 65. It's as low as 56.5. I'm all over this total. I think we're going to see a repeat of Ohio State, Indiana, where Ohio State scores like 50-something points, and Miami gets a couple of garbage points. I think OSU is going to do what they did in the FAU game and start playing their subs defense once the game gets out of hand. And Miami of Ohio is going to be able to move the ball against that unit. Ohio State's got Nebraska next week, so I'm not really seeing how focused they're going to be on defense, and I imagine they're going to pull back on like I said, on some starters, rest them for Nebraska, because that's going to be a big game. It's going to be a big game. So I think Ohio State might score 56 points themselves. That's how bad Miami of Ohio is, in my opinion. All right, moving on. Charlotte at Clemson. Let's not overthink this one, guys. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time breaking this one down. Clemson's going to hang a half 100 on anybody. This game's not even going to be close. This is another tune-up game for Clemson. Pad the stats sort of thing. Don't be afraid to lay 41 points over here. Western Michigan, Syracuse. I love when I see lines like this. Okay, this is the Clemson effect. This is the Bama effect that we had on Duke last week. Everybody thinks Syracuse is terrible because they lost to Maryland, looking ahead to Clemson, and then Clemson beat them pretty badly. Okay, they're still an ACC team. That's a good team. They're still a minimum 6-win team. Okay, there's no way they should be only -5 against Western Michigan at home. None. Okay, I don't understand. I do understand the line. It's just the public reaction here. This Western Michigan team is just what the doctor ordered for for Syracuse. Okay, they got their asses kicked the last 2 weeks. They host Western Michigan, a team they can beat soundly, feel good about themselves. They're laying less than a touchdown, and Western Michigan starts their conference play next week. So I don't really see how could Western Michigan get up for this game. And now if Syracuse would have beat Clemson or something like that, then I could see it. But Western Michigan, how are you going to get up for this game? You're on the road. You got to travel to a hostile environment, the Carrier Dome. Syracuse is waiting for an opponent they can beat soundly, feel good about themselves. This line keeps dropping. I don't get it. ESPN's FPI has Western Michigan beating them. Okay, well, why don't you go back and see what Western Michigan has done against Power 5 teams and let me know how that FPI is doing. Okay, Syracuse covers easily. Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to stop it right here. We're at almost 9 minutes. That's the end of part 1. We'll come right back for part 2. Okay. See you soon.